What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we know that newly crowned, undefeated, undisputed, lightweight, world champion, superstar boxer, Devin the Dream Haney. 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 15 wins by way of knockout. He is 23 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. He's coming off of a dazzling performance in which he outclassed and dominated former unified lightweight world champion, Australian star boxer George Kambosos Jr., who is now 20 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 10 wins by way of knockout, 28 years of age, 5'9" with a 68-inch arm reach. That took place June 4th in the States, June 5th in Australia. And Devin Haney, he went to Australia and dominated the fight to become the first 4 major sanction belt lightweight lineal ring magazine world champion in the history of the sport of boxing. It's the first time in the history. The last time we had an undisputed lightweight champion was back in 1991 when the late, great, legendary, iconic Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker was the undisputed champion, but that was the 3-belt era, okay? So he was the last lineal undisputed lightweight world champion, but that was the 3-belt era. This is the 4-belt era. Well, what's interesting to note is Olympic gold medalist, 2-division world champion, Hall of Fame iconic superstar boxer turned colorful analyst and boxing pundit in Andre S.O.G. Ward, who's retired and is now a Hall of Famer. Andre Ward retired, 32 wins, no losses, no draws. He has 16 wins by way of knockout. He retired, he was a super middleweight and light heavyweight world champion, okay? Andre S.O.G. Ward, he brought up the fact that the sanction bodies and these belts are taking money from fighters, right? And there is no rhyme or reason as to where is the money going and why are they doing such, right? So with that said, Andre Ward brought up this issue, and then we know legendary, iconic, Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame promoter, legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Bob Arum, he brought up the same concerns with this situation. And Bob Arum, obviously, he gets looked at because some fighters, and some fights, Bob Arum, with some fighters, he, has a different type of energy for certain fighters, right? And so Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, undefeated 2-division world champion, Olympic silver medalist, who's currently the unified super featherweight WBC, WBO super featherweight world champion, superstar boxer Shakur Stevenson, who is 18 wins, no loss, no draw, 9 wins by way of knockout, 24 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. He's coming off of a dazzling performance in which he dominated former Mexican superstar 2-division world champion in Oscar Valdez, right? And so Bob Arum, he recently stated that, he has no interest in his fighters unifying the belts, okay? He said that, it's the sanction bodies, the WBC, World Boxing Council, the WBO, World Boxing Organization, the IBF, International Boxing Federation, and the WBA, World Boxing Association, they're taking money from these fighters, okay? And they're not, the fighters are paying a massive amount of purses, and there's no reason for doing so, okay? Because there's no, there's no direction as to where the money is going, okay? So with that said, now you have a situation where, Devin Haney became the undisputed champion, at lightweight, which is a glamour division. And now it has been revealed, obviously, Devin Haney, he had to pay his sanction fees. Devin Haney made a purse of $3 million because why? Devin Haney, he took a pay cut to secure this big fight with George Kambosos Jr., okay? He had to take a pay cut. He did what he had to dare to be great for his legacy and secure his legacy, right? So Devin Haney is a fighter that makes upwards of $5 million per fight, right? And so with that said, or close to it, right? So with that said, in this situation, Devin Haney, he had to take a massive pay cut. He had to take a pay cut of, George Kambosos. Is saw that George Kambosos made $10 million, and Devin Haney was making $3 million, right? So Devin Haney made $3 million for the fight. George Kambosos, he made $10 million for the fight. which is a huge gap for Devin Haney, because Devin Haney was going into the fight as the WBC lightweight world champion. Okay, so it wasn't like Devin Haney, was just a contender going into this fight. Devin Haney is the lightweight world champion, the WBC undefeated lightweight world champion, who clearly should have been the A side, but because George Kambosos Jr. upset the apple cart and shocked the world when he defeated former unified lightweight world champion superstar boxer Teofimo Lopez, he became the A side. The cards was, all the cards was on his side. And Devin Haney, he just wanted to pick up those belts. So he conceded to whatever George Kambosos wanted. Well, George Kambosos got $10 million for this fight. Devin Haney got $3 million. George Kambosos' highest payday going into this fight was $1.2 million in the fight with Teofimo Lopez. Devin Haney's highest payday was upwards of $5 million. So that just lets you know that Devin Haney was daring to be great. But with that said, Devin Haney made $3 million for this fight, right? A guaranteed purse of $3 million. Okay, to be exact, it's being reported that he made $2.9 million. So I would just say round it off to $3 million, right? His sanction fees for becoming the undisputed champion this is without taxes. This is without taxes. Obviously, his father, trainer, manager, CEO of DHP, Devin Haney Promotions, Bill Haney is his father, so obviously he has to get paid, right? And then his team, he has to pay his trainers, he has to pay his assistant trainer, he has to pay, his strength and condition, his nutritionist, things of that nature, right? Out of a $3 million purse. Now, obviously, Devin Haney has already successfully made successful investments, but I'm solely talking about this person, this situation. So Devin Haney has to pay his taxes, right? So he has to pay taxes out $3 million. He has to pay his team, okay? He has to pay his strength and condition, his nutritionist, right? So there's a lot of people that Devin Haney has to pay, right? Devin Haney also has to pay the sanction bodies $360,000. You heard me. Devin Haney has to pay the sanction bodies $360,000. That's almost $400,000. That's almost $100,000 per sanction body that Devin Haney has to pay. $360,000 Devin Haney has to pay. Now, what's ironic about this is Andre Ward, he just did an interview as he's at the Hall of Fame, and Andre Ward just talked about this at the Hall of Fame, and he stated that it's a good accomplishment, right? Andre Ward said it's a good accomplishment. He stated, but the sanction bodies, they need to tell us, where's this money going, right? He stated that, the sanction bodies need to let everybody know where this money is going, what they're doing with the money. He said, we have to stop paying for their kids' tuition, their tuitions, their cars, their houses, the mansions, and things of that nature, because that's what we're doing. We're paying for their kids' tuition, we're paying for the mansions. And Andre Ward, he just stated that, the WBC, World Boxing Council, President Mauricio Suleiman, and the board of 32 members sent him a memo, and on the memo, it had, some things and charities and things that the money go to. And Andre Ward, he said, that's all well and said, but if I'm paying you a sanction fee, how is that first of all, how is it benefiting me that this money is going to all of these different organizations, and on top of it, without my say so, right? If you're going to have it going to certain charities, then I should have say so in which and where the money goes to, right? He said, how do I know that these charities, events, and these places aren't your bottom line? Meaning that it could say it's going to one place, but this place could be a business that you own, right? How do I know if this is not a business that you own, right? How do I know if this is not your family member, your uncle, your aunt, your sister, your brother's business that I'm sending this money to, right? So I need to know where the money is going to. So it's disturbing that Devin Haney will have to pay $360,000 out of his $3 million purse and his taxes. So he got to pay taxes and the sanction fees. So essentially, like Andre Ward said, you're buying the belts. So Devin Haney, he sacrificed his money, and he took less to dare to be great, but he's also purchasing the belts. So Andre Ward, he stated that it's ironic because people asked him, well, why are you taking pictures with the belts? And he said, because I bought them. Right? If you don't like the sanction bodies, why are you taking pictures with them? He said, because I bought them. Period. This is ironic and horrible. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word.